Welcome back. Happy Thursday. I am your
Happy
host of GovConHacks, Ashley Dole, joined by Natasha Velez.
Hi,
And
everybody.
we're happy to be back. I got to say, these every 2 weeks, I miss you guys.
I know, I'm
So,
not used to it. In fairness, last week I thought we had
were you
GovConHacks.
here? Were
I
you? Did you
I
pop
came
in?
out, I was like, where's everyone? We've been doing this for so long, and we've been doing it weekly, religiously, and then it just stopped. So I had a little, I was like, oh, okay.
I
I'm
know
good.
it definitely became such a habit. But and I know that we are slacking on the members only content. It is taking me a little bit longer
Nah,
to
girl, I got
produce
so
these
much
short
content
things.
just sitting around. You guys, let's do it.
Well, there you go.
Let's go.
Well, I have been getting a lot of questions about our topic tonight, and I've actually been hearing a lot of horror stories, not necessarily ones that have happened super recently, but there's so many different ways that I won't call them all scammers. I'll just call them um salespeople that are trying to get our attention right now. And
Okay.
I went I went on a little bit of a rant on LinkedIn earlier this week about the LinkedIn messages, right? And then Natasha, I was hoping you would share your post because if we could just start off with that bit of
Yeah.
positivity, because I mean, it is what it is. We're all here in business. We're all here to sell and make
Yes.
money. So
Yes.
let's hear your post. I want to hear your thoughts on just that alone.
Yes.
And that'll
So,
segue right nicely into our discussion this evening.
so I put a post out on LinkedIn because I think that you hit the nail on the head in regards to having 20 million people reach out to you with the same messaging over and over again starts to get extremely exhausted. And so I wanted to just kind of remind everyone that even though we are all in sales, we are all using ChatGPT and AI to differentiate ourselves. And in that same tactic, I have noticed that we're all not differentiating
Nobody's
ourselves.
differentiating.
Everything's the same. Everything
Everything's
sounds
the
the same.
same. It sounds exactly the
Oh,
same.
like it's just not standing out. So it's gotten very like, oh no, 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 no. And very impersonal. Very impersonal. So I had posted, I kind of followed your lead on this one because you had kind of gotten so upset and you and had every right to, because I think you spoke based on how the reaction in LinkedIn, you spoke to what everybody was already feeling.
Everybody was thinking it. I know.
Mhm. You just said it. It was like, oh, thank you. Because that's the segue of like, let me just kind of pull into this really quickly. And I just pretty much said, everyone's talking sales, but who's actually being heard? Because let's be real, in a world where everyone is using ChatGPT and you're drafting every message with AI tools and you're flooding people's feed saying, hey, I've got a solution. Hey, I've got a solution. Hey, you want to set up a call? It's honestly getting harder to stand out in business development and capture when you do the same approach as everyone else. So,
Everybody.
in regards to sales, everyone's
The
doing it.
prompts are
It's
all the same, like we can tell. The prompts are all the
all the
same.
same. And
I
sometimes you
noticed you
go
are
lazy.
Yeah, I noticed you're running a small team at Dole Dev, and I'm really interested in what you're doing and blah blah
Yes,
blah. Are you really, Chad? Are you that interested?
right.
Come on. You're in a completely different industry. I'm not
Right.
your targeted market. You have
Yes.
completely set up this AI sales funnel, and it's
Mhm.
off-putting.
It
It's really
is.
off-putting. And it might be us because we're in the government space and we're used to a certain way, right? But I just want to make sure that because that's what we're doing, we're selling, right?
Yes.
Don't forget, and Natasha said this perfectly in her post, and I encourage you go to LinkedIn and check out this back and forth we had. But Natasha said in her post, people still buy from people. So
Yeah.
let's segue right
Mhm.
into some of the ways that you are probably being targeted. And we're going to
Right.
talk tonight about outsourcing government services, right? Is it exploitation? When is it exploitation? Or is it a growth strategy? Because how you use it can really either like burn you, give you a bad experience and a bad taste in your mouth,
Yeah.
or really help you grow and take your business to the next level. So let's unpack a few of those. I know that just yesterday, I got, and those of you who may have been in the industry for a while probably remember these emails, but it's an
Mm.
email, government solicitation in your industry. It's probably one that you haven't seen. And the reason you haven't seen it is because your filters filtered it out for a reason, right? But it looks new to you and it's coming through your email. Do you want to bid on this? Schedule a call with us below. My first rule of thumb and the first piece of advice I'm going to give everybody right now is if that's
Mhm.
how you have to get your attention, is that really someone you want to do business with? That's my first piece of advice.
Mhm.
If that's how they're getting your attention, they're probably trying to just get your money and run. Do you get those emails? I mean, everybody registers with
I
Sam,
don't
right?
even remember signing up for most of them, but yes,
You
constantly.
didn't because you didn't sign up. What they do is they pull the they literally get the information from Sam.
From Sam.
A little
Yeah.
birdie told me a long
Yeah.
time ago that Sam actually sells the information. I cannot confirm or deny if that's the case. I didn't look into it, to be honest, but
Love
they
the
do.
sale.
They get it from Sam. They can also get it from DSBS, right? So
Right.
we don't want to necessarily hide ourselves from the people that buy what we sell, but we do have to get really good at kind of sifting
Yeah.
through the fake from the real. I will
Yeah,
say,
I have to agree. I think so those are just like what the and I've tried it too, the get responses and the marketing, the MailChimp, and it's just like a
something's
blast.
wrong with your DSBS
Yeah.
profile. That one,
Your
yeah,
sam.gov is going to expire soon.
yeah,
We can help you for the low minimal price of $500 or I think some people pay 900. But there is a difference from knowing a value of your time saving versus you spending money unknowingly without the right information, right? Like there's a
right.
difference. So if I'm going to pay $500, perfect example, I make Ashley do my women owned small business stuff. Girl ain't got time. I'm like, girl, I'll pay
Hey, I
you.
got you 82% of the way there.
They called me, I'm certified.
Good, congrats.
So I was like, yay, we're certified. But I understand that it's free to do it myself, but I want to save time and focus on other things. So
Right,
Ashley, I trust to do it for me. That's different
that's different.
from being told that I have to pay to
Right,
renew it.
right.
So
That's
me
way
not
different.
having a little piece of the information, knowing this is an added value service versus a necessity, that's trickery. And I don't
Right.
necessarily like that.
Absolutely, that's a good way to put it.
Mhm.
And the other one I'll say is, like, so the process-based companies, and not to say that there's anything wrong with them, but I feel like there's a misunderstanding and expectation, right? So
Mhm.
you're a new small business to the market or even experienced, and let's say, you were looking into a GSA schedule and someone on the other line, it
That's yeah.
used to be the case that, they would call you and tell you, you have to have a GSA schedule to do business with the government. That's
Mhm.
not true, right? Now, I have had folks pay me to help them navigate the process, understand what they were doing. And in all actuality, I do prefer that type of client because I get scared when somebody wants me to do it all for them. It's
Right.
like there's a lot of responsibility there, right? Even your SAM registration, you are attesting that you understand and agree. So if
Right.
someone's not taking the time to help you understand the process, that's where I would be a little cautious. But you have
Yeah.
an excellent point. It's about being realistic about what our strengths and weaknesses are. I
Mhm.
know that Monday.com is a strength of mine, right? So I'm not going to pay someone to do that for me because I'm going to get it done a whole lot faster than they are.
Right.
However, on the flip side, I know that I get frustrated with proposals. I know how to technical write, but there's too many moving parts for this. I just, it's not my thing, right? So I'm
Right.
happy to pay for that because I want it done right, and I don't necessarily trust myself to do it. And then there's time. If it's going to take you 5 hours and you pay yourself 250 an hour, but this person's willing to do it for 100 an hour, then it makes sense. And just be logical about that. Definitely check reviews, not necessarily, just Google profile reviews, but maybe use cases. Are
Right.
there any use cases developed? Now, if we're talking about a high ticket or a low ticket item, a use case is probably not going to be what you're going to ask for. But definitely some things to consider if you do need assistance in your business, because there are very credible folks out there that provide these services. But I wouldn't hire. So the new thing now is everyone's a proposal writer. Anyone with a free chat
Oh
GPT
God, don't
subscription
start.
thinks they're-
I'm like, no, the hell you're not.
and I'm like, look, I saw someone peddling from a fake profile, peddling proposal services today in one of the Facebook groups. I was like, let me not get involved.
All right, so this is what they do. I'm going to give you two scenarios here that I've already witnessed to date, right? One is the simplicity of that you can quite literally hire a proposal company to do your proposal or a sample of a proposal, give you a template and walk you through the steps, right? Then repeat. Was it repeat and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Rinse and
And then
repeat.
sell that same capability to someone else, but necessarily not have any of the experience or knowledge. Just have enough of the sales pitch to reel you in and enough of a template to utilize and say, hey, look at this. I did this and you didn't. One example that I've already had done to me. The next example is there are a million people out there outsourcing international writers. And one thing I started that way where I had like a bunch of international writers. I used a service for that. And I instantly realized quality versus quantity matters. Your P-win matters. And so when we're talking about proposal writing, we need to talk about what is your win rate? Not that you can just write it. Can you get me the win? Because you are all not rich. Or you watching us. You are not rich. So you cannot afford to dish out $3,000 to $4,000, $5,000 for a proposal that's not going to win because it's an investment. So really kind of ensure that you have the right people in your corner, that they have industry knowledge, US industry knowledge. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't like international writers because I absolutely adore them, but there should be some US leadership to manage, provide insight, compliance, and be
quality standpoint,
quality
right?
control. There has to be something there from a US standpoint where we understand our compliance, our regulations, and the ever-changing climate and environment, especially now in this administration. So,
And I think they prey on the new small businesses because they don't know any better. Like if Natasha and I were to get one of those proposals, we know garbage when we see it. But if this is the first proposal you're seeing and it has a pretty cover page and you're like, okay, how do you know what to compare it against? How do you know the baseline of quality control for something, it's not measurable then. So I definitely, and this goes for any service, not just proposal writing, right? Anybody can submit a process, but here's why you see so many international writers and not as many international companies doing more of the processes. And I'm pretty confident the reason for that is the fact that it's the only service in government contracting or the only process that they can execute that they don't have to access a .gov site because they can't.
Yeah.
You're
There's a lot of times they can't access certain sites though. And you have to be careful too with outsourcing writers and for things like if you're going to go after like Soup Six and things like that. You're literally if you're going after, high profile opportunities and just think about scalability and the longevity, whether you're small or mid, but as you're growing, you're considering the fact that, there's going to be things like if you do security services, you're probably going to have a lot of top secret information that you're privy to. So you're going to need SharePoint. You're going to have some sort of, basis of FSO. So a facilities, security officer to kind of manage things. You don't want to easily have just everyone accessing that kind of data. So, we're getting very strict on those stipulations, and cybersecurity really becoming a thing, and security is huge. So protecting our data and protecting who uses it.
And here's the thing is there's nothing to say that they're not going to turn around and give that same proposal to somebody else, or that your competitor didn't get the exact same proposal for the exact same solicitation. So that's another thing I would say, and maybe you can speak more to this.
For BD on that too.
Right,
Let's
like we're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that though.
Yes,
they're going to take your money to write that proposal anyway, knowing that you didn't have a shot in hell of winning it.
Yes.
And that's what scares me about utilizing those services, is because if you don't know, certainly can't expect them to.
Well, let's be real. Like, where do you think they're getting that data from? Where do you think they're getting that information from? So, and I see this all the time. And I even see, like, there's many cases where, like, a CEO will say, how do you think they got that information? And I'm like, they're consultants. They consult with everyone, but they don't just speak. They also listen. So they're collecting data all day long. They're in the right rooms. So that's like what you're paying for, right? But you're also sharing information to them so they can run to someone else and share it. Like, yeah, we all got NDAs, but they're still in rooms talking. I mean, let's be real. So they're sharing that information, the same information they're sharing with you, they're sharing with the competitors. Would be very, very conscientious of that.
Yeah.
And who you allow in the room in those conversations when you use outside consultants.
Yes, absolutely. Totally 10,000% agree. And I would also, everybody's so focused on, well, what's your win rate? I'd be more focused on what's your win rate in my industry under these circumstances, right? I find that a lot of them don't ask the right questions when, looking for potential resources. And also, and this isn't to any fault of any of our audience, but we don't know what we don't know, right? So when you go in and you think you need help with proposals, they'll sell you a proposal for sure. Or you think you need help with GSA schedule, and not to just point out proposals, it could be anything. Those of us who know the industry are not afraid to tell you that that is not what you need.
Yes.
I mean, if the data says you need it, all right, I'll buy, right? I'll bite. But if the data isn't there, there's nothing that you're going to say to convince me that I'm not going to give you lip service and tell you what you want.
How many times do you and I have this conversation where I'm like, Ashley, I have another client who is reaching out because they need proposal services, but they don't know who they want to be when they grow up. They don't need proposal services.
No.
They need BD. They need capture.
They need capture. They need strategy.
Yes.
Right.
Or we're just running your billable hours and writing a proposal that we know you have no chance of winning. So it's just one of those things where the two go hand in hand. They really do.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And this is the time to focus. On sort of being really, really good at that one thing. You can't be everything to everyone, but if you're really good at that one thing, you can build on that. There are multiple, and I know we talk a lot about GovCon here, but the first thing we all are business owners, right? So this is applicable to government contracting, but it's also applicable to just your social media management, right? Just your website developer, anything, outsourcing any service. The people that jump up into your LinkedIn, like for example, I made the mistake one time of responding to one of those messages. And it happened to be something I needed at the time. They wanted to redesign my website. When I tell you, like, for example, the leads form was going to an old dead email that the guy had shut down for over a year. I mean, it was literally one of the worst experiences of my life. And
Wow.
I had a lot of buyer's remorse, and I was like, I thought I could have seen through that. I really thought that I would never get taken like that. Well, damn sure I did. And it's been a slow progress. I'm still working on redoing that stupid thing. But by the same token, I learned a very valuable lesson. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't, you know, I looked at what they were showcasing, but I didn't look at the other stuff that, wasn't front and center on the website. I realized the error of my ways quickly,
Right.
um, and went a different direction. And sometimes we have to get burned once to feel that. But I've also seen it, the burn kind of stay with you to the
Mhm.
point where you won't get out of your own way to get the help that you need to get to the next level. So also don't let that happen. Even if you have been burned once, you dealt with a company that was maybe a little unscrupulous, a little shady, maybe they ghosted you, maybe they hijacked your SAM, or
Yep.
they put themselves as the primary point of contact on your GSA schedule instead of you. All these weird things that tend to happen. Don't let that one situation keep you from asking for help when you need it. There are so many resources out here. So
I
many.
agree. I think that we those are all lessons. It's a positive thing.
Yeah.
I would say like when you like when you fail a proposal, right? Lessons learned, debrief. It's still a positive. It teaches you what not to do. I've
Right.
had that, I had one time, just like, I have buyer's remorse, but I spent like 10 grand on a course
I
because
remember you told me
I
about that.
didn't know enough that I didn't trust myself enough at the time. I was a new business owner, and I feel like a lot of business owners just struggle with this pricing. We forget our
Yeah.
value. And we want to be lowest price, and we think that's our value. Like if we just, we'll get low enough that they just say yes, and the win is enough. And sometimes even low is like you still don't feel good about it. It was too low. So it's knowing your value, and that was really hard for me. So I went and I spent 10 grand to take a course on how to position myself and my value. And it was a great sale because they got me so fast. I swiped so quick. And it was the worst course. I mean, it was horrible. Like I could have done a better course. I learned that, and that's the sale right there. I learned what not to
What not to do. Exactly.
do. I learned about Kajabi, which I love, but I learned how to use it properly. I learned to be conscientious of my templates and my formatting and my presentation and client experience and training. I learned all the things not to do. And I also learned that if she could easily get me for 10 grand and have tons of people doing the same thing, well, then I'm going to be making a killing.
I mean, it gave you the vote of confidence you needed to get off your rump.
And all of a sudden my rates went up. I was like, I'm good. So I learned, not in the way that I thought I was going to learn, but I learned. So take it
Yeah,
as
right. Let's talk about that for a second. Rates. I have, the more experience somebody has, the more you can expect to pay.
yes, yes.
And look, like we didn't just wake up this morning and decide that we wanted to know government contracting. I know that for sure.
No,
And
it was a
oftentimes you get what you pay for. And I say this all the time about those darn capability statement, those templates on that one platform, that freelancer platform that I'm not going to mention. Man, look, anybody can copy and paste the crap that we submit. If we were paying for a capability statement, I would
Mhm.
hope that you guys would be paying someone that can help you sell your stuff
Yeah.
because we don't really know how to communicate our value. None of
Yeah.
us do. It's like this mental block. I can't even do it for myself, but it's really super easy for me to help Natasha and say, well, what about that win over here? You're forgetting 13 billion in your numbers, or how many square feet did you clean at that Savannah River job site, like just
Mm-hmm.
different things like that. Sometimes it takes a third party objective and there's no support there.
Right.
So to me, you just paid someone to copy and paste and spit out a
Mm-hmm.
PDF that you can't edit. That's not value. And that's just the opinion of one, right? Because value is perceived in different ways by different people.
Right.
But don't spend $1 until you have an understanding of like what you're going to get out of it. Because I know a lot of companies with a lot of certifications that they paid for that have $0 collected. And
Yes.
not to say that, they paid for a service and they got that service, they got that certification. But what are you going to do with it now? Do you know how to use it?
Right.
What, what's the strategy there?
You just
So
check the box.
they
You said,
check the box,
"Okay."
right? And
You're
I
like,
think
okay,
that's like
so
all
what?
year so far. I have just been uber annoyed with box checking. Like I'm just super what was the one word? Obtain.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to obtain something. And to
Yes.
me, like obtain is box checking.
It is. It's I have this. I have when it's the component of the same metric of I have my SBA certified woman-owned small business. You're saying that your value is in the check box that you check, right? And it's not. What do you do? Normally, like, and to kind of feed upon that is I'm going to take a different metric to this versus the people that are paying for services that are not beneficial to you just so that you can feel accomplished. Let's talk about the things that you don't want to pay for.
Right.
You expect. Let's get into it because I'm feeling great about that. How you come here wanting like 20 proposals for $100 a month? Please explain that to me.
They
Or
don't know
how
what goes into it. That's why. They have
or
no
how you
idea.
come in here wanting consultancy for like for a certain number that you've managedly come up with in your head, but you want honestly, I've had people come and say, I want capture, I want BD, I want sourcing, I want writing, but I only want to pay like $100 a month. And I'm like, you want a whole background organization of multiple employees for what? Have realistic expectations, learn what scalability is, and take accountability to do it yourself. This industry, when people come to us, they know they have to have a certain amount of money to support their business. We do the same thing. We support our business. There's loads of money that we make and loads of money that we lose, and that's the risk you
That's
take.
business.
That's
Yeah.
business, and that's you betting on yourself, right? But we have been in this industry for years. We have been in the highs and lows, the peaks, the valleys. We have spent all of our lives learning the regulations that you don't want to sit around and reading the FAR and doing all the things that you don't want to do. That's why you're paying our services. It goes back to like being smart with your time and your money, how much you pay yourself versus how much you'd outsource for to save your time.
Someone
We
taught
are
me that
saving
when I
time.
was new in business, and I gotta say, it's been one of the most valuable pieces of
Yeah,
advice I've ever been given.
it's true.
How much
It's
time
very
is it gonna take you? Tally up that total. Is it cheaper to outsource? Outsource it.
yep.
And I
Because where
have.
it's going to take you hours to research something that would have taken it someone else like 30 minutes to do. I get so annoyed sometimes when you do stuff in Monday or you just pull something so quickly, and I'm just like, how'd you do that? I spent a whole fucking day.
Like the data, that's one thing that I know. Like, get me into USA spending. I can give you your entire market snapshot in some hours. Whereas
This is
when I
the
first
best.
started doing that, it would take me 3 days, man. I'd be like, all right, what does this column mean? Let me go back to the guide. I mean,
Mhm,
it took
mhm.
time to learn that. Like, I wasn't just born with that type of skill set. I didn't know how to run a
So
pivot
good,
table. I didn't know any of it.
so good. But that's what I
But,
mean, like finding
you
the people that know. Like Ashley's great at Monday.com. Like she can build a whole CRM system. And I sat there for days. All right, I'm not gonna lie, months
know.
trying to create templates and automations.
Oh, I
And
didn't
I
know it
was
was months.
stop.
You
I'm
never
gonna
told
tell
me
people
that.
everything. I have some ego, a little ego until right now. It's been a month, y'all.
It
So
has. It
I
really
literally
has.
I went to Ashley's one time and I saw her Monday board and I was like, please take pity upon me.
Will you help me?
I will write whatever proposal you need. Just help me, please. It was beautiful. I cried all the times I spent trying to make a template. I couldn't even save a template. Stop. I rewrote my proposal pipeline
Did
template like
you?
10 times. I couldn't even. So we
I
want
have
to
a
do
template for literally everything. Certification management. I have a
that.
template, my custom CRM template. I have a
Mm,
pipeline template. I have proposal management templates. I'm working
right.
on post award management templates. I have portfolio templates. Like the list goes
Everything that
on.
I learned to do when it came to being tidy with my services and my templates and my asset management and digital assets, I've learned from you.
Well,
And it's
thank you for
all
that.
on my board.
Because
My
here's the
assets.
thing. If you're unorganized, and even though I am as organized as I am, in some cases I feel disorganized, right? If I
Yeah.
forget to put that thing in Monday, or if I don't put the like that, it runs my life like it's my whole operating system now.
Yes.
But if you're not organized and you're like everywhere and your
Mhm.
proposals everywhere and you're still communicating over email, sending things to each other, like
Mhm.
it's chaotic and your
It gets
customers will feel that.
yes.
It will
Yes, you
affect
wanna
the
have a
quality.
certain level and in your employees as well. You wanna look maintained as you grow. CRM system, I forgot who said it the other day, but they said it perfectly. Like a CRM system is the most expensive but well vested opportunity you could ever give yourself. Because
Yes.
once it flows, not only internally do you work so much better and not become a bottleneck in your own business and growth, but along with that, your clients feel warm and better because they know that you got it. Because everything is automatically available. Correspondence,
Yeah.
updates, it has everything.
Everything's right
So
there. So when
so
you are
I
on vacation and someone else needs to take over for that prospect or that client, or they get an email or a phone
mhm,
call, you can just go and look. I
yep.
mean, I even anybody that I interview, whether it's a service to provide me, whether it's an employee or a prospect employee or a prospect client, for example, everything is in that central location and I can just search it right in my database. It
And you know
just
what? You can almost kinda take that to a concept of also vetting your consultants. How do
yes, that's
they
what I
manage
mean,
their business?
right?
Because they're gonna give you advice on yours. So, maybe do some research on theirs. If it doesn't feel like they've got it all together, Lord knows I don't wanna hear. I always say, like, if I want, like, financial advice from someone, I don't want it from someone that well, I always look at the background of their house. I look at the type of the car they have, what clothes they're wearing. I'm like, if you look like your FICO score is less than me, I'm not taking financial. We're not doing it. We're gonna
Yeah, financial advice is something totally different.
right. So, like, if you're
Yeah,
gonna take business advice from someone, ensure that they have their business set up and their structure is good and that they know what they're talking about with certainty. That they come in here and not only everyone can't help everyone.
right.
Every niche is different.
It
So when
won't
you're
be it won't be they won't tell you that though. They'll tell you
no,
absolutely they can
you
help you.
have to like look into the details and ask the right questions. I think Ashley said it perfectly. Ask the right questions. Ask them what work they've done specifically in engineering services. Can they show you some of their work or can they share some of those details? What were those outcomes, those solutions? If they saw any issues, what is their communication style? What are those updates going to look like? Will they deal with you specifically or will they have an account manager that they have to who's, main point? So just really kind of vet your consultants better because we all got a sales pitch. I know because I am one, but ultimately you're paying for results
Yeah.
and you're paying not just billable hours but for results and outcomes because it is your business and it is your future and it is your money, so guard it heavily. That's my
Yeah, I
take.
should really rethink that whole billable hours thing. I think I need to go back to hourly.
I like my hours.
This firm fixed price stuff is for the birds. So I'm just kidding.
Girl, I'll tell you I don't like it.
Well, it has I don't see any comments today.
Yeah, we just went on our spiel.
We did. We went on a whole tangent. We just carried the green room right into the podcast today. So thank you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you do have any questions, as always, feel free to drop them in the comments. We do check between episodes.
Yes.
And we will then come back and see you in 2 weeks. If you have any topic requests or burning questions, please do let us know. You can reach out at support@dualdev.com, or feel free to just go on my website and submit a contact form, because that goes to me now. And I will take your recommendations, and we'll incorporate those lessons and episodes into our future content. So we want to hear from you, our audience. Please don't be shy. And we will see you then same time in 2 weeks from now.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, I would like to say that. Like and subscribe, tap that bell so you're notified of our new schedule when we go live. Please do that. All right, everybody.
Guys. Have a great
weekend.
weekend. Bye.